Good evening and welcome back. So, let's see what I did last time. Worked on rough block out for the control library entrance area here, and notice that there are a few issues with Blender, and as a result, since I'm quite sure we still have those issues, just try that. See, but I think we still have those issues because I didn't change anything on my drivers or anything like that. So yeah, it's still the same issue. Yeah, and it also doesn't want to do the snapping here. So there's something completely broken with the system, and as a result, it's creating props, which is really annoying. So, and I also didn't save the last edit here, but that doesn't matter. So no Blender for today. Let's close it. I need to find something else to do because I really need to fix that issue first. Figure out what's going wrong there. So let's see. What can we do? Let's load the town. Let's see if we can do anything there. I mean, one thing that I definitely can do is figure out more materials. Because at the moment I have this dirt material here, and I have the rock material. But I just saw that the dirt material needs to be pushed in the roughness a bit more, so it's a bit less rough than I want it to be. It looks kind of matte or something like that. So it kind of looks wet. That's the issue. And I don't want that. I want this to be a bit more rough. So let's have a look at the material here. Let's open up. Rock roll. Where's my... Oh wait, now I have sand. I have rocks, sand, and snow. I don't think I do have dirt yet. Yeah, we have the snow here. Um, did I open the wrong things? I think I opened the wrong things. Yeah, I opened the end results and not the things that I do want. Okay, so let's open the right things here. So that, that, and that. So open those. Okay, there we go. Oh yeah, I definitely need to do something on this. Let's see. If there's pebbles in here. And don't think I want those pebbles like that, so let's see. Yeah, I don't want pebbles. And then we do have those holes in here. Maybe we need to fix those. Because the rest of this looks okay. But these spots here are kind of broken completely. We do have them connected. Oh, they're not even connected. Yeah, those are the pebbles. And they're not even in use. But these things are for some reason in use, so let's not do that. Let's connect this here. Okay, that doesn't do this because we already have those dark spots in here. Quite sure what I want with those. Let's see. It needs to be something different beneath it. So I'm not quite sure. Maybe I need to add the raw rock under it. Let's thought this was sand color here. Maybe it is, but I'm just not seeing it properly. What's that? Yeah, I think I might need to throw the rock in here. Maybe I also need to figure out how to make this look better. Because at the moment it's really flat. And I have no idea how to change that. Maybe it's the levels here that it's need to put this. Maybe. Yeah, it's still too flat. It's slightly better. Problem is I can't push the normal more here. Or the height map. I mean, okay, I can completely ignore the height map because it doesn't work with system I'm using. The terrain material, it's just doesn't work like that for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. But it doesn't work. And okay, the whole system is quite simple, so it doesn't. Can understand that the quality is not the best. Normal invert in here. Not sure why I put them down. I think the biggest problem is the timing. This is a bit too much. Much. Oh, okay, no, it's not. This is not really the issue. Hmm. Yeah, the problem is this is flattening out parts of it, which I don't want. Okay. Yeah, that. So let's see. Yeah, let's export this out and have a look. Teams. And cool. Okay, so that is not it. Because for some reason I have this set to also generate the roughness map. So let's change that. So the roughness is here. And this is my metallic map. And this one has. Only a few spots here and there, so that should be fine. Even though I think I need to push this. Let's see. Let's push in this direction. Yeah, I think that might be okay. Still too big. Yeah. I think I might need to remove that spot. So this tiny spot there needs to be lessened a bit. You know, the problem is it doesn't really show me the roughness in here. Like I want to have it working here. So. Let's remove that spot down. Okay, it's less, but we still have that spot on the roughness map here. But it's still there, so even if we push this to the max, it still gives me that tiny dot over there, so it's not completely gone. Wait. I'm inverting this. Why am I inverting that? Oh yeah, that would be too. So I'm inverting it, but this spot up here is too bright, so we need to tune that down slightly. Okay, don't think I can get rid of that spot here. Because I think I have the levels here pushed too far already. Get a bit of that. Let's see. Yeah, this spot is always there. So I would go remove a lot of nuances here that I might want to have in there, so let's keep them in. Hmm. Wait, no, let's see the mob here. See, maybe I need to figure out a way to fix this so this doesn't look that flat. Maybe it's the levels here. Request? No. This direction, yeah, it's the top flatter. Let's try something slightly different here. Now let's do that. Maybe I need to change this here a bit. I think this might be a bit too harsh. Okay, so this flattens it out. Which I don't want. This here is a bit too rough. So I need to find something else for that. Let's see. Yeah, I think that is a bit better. And now we have these flat areas here. Maybe we can use this. So if we blend that in slightly. So this is background, this is foreground. Let's change the scale. I think this is still a bit too rough, but if we take this in here twice, then maybe change the levels here. Let's have a look at that. Okay, that's horrible. No, no. Okay, so this here needs to be changed completely. I think this might be too much. Oh, let's see. It's too rough already for what we are doing here. And I don't mean roughness, I mean structure-wise. So the okay, this one. Change the tiling for that. Yeah, no, let's don't. No, I think it's too stylized. No, kind of. It's too much. Let's do something like this. Let's see if that's better somehow. Probably is. No, because now we have that tiling in there. Yeah, no, the problem is we. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't look good. I mean, you can create landscapes with that shape, but not rocks. So, maps. I mean, looks like islands or something like that, but I already can see the tiling in that small piece here, so nope, that's not good. So maybe this shape here is not a good starting point. Yeah, no, the crystal is not a good starting point. Yeah, something simpler. Hmm. Nope. No, that's bullshit. Kind of want to have bigger shapes, but not repeating shapes, kind of. That's the issue. Now, the issue here is that we have a lot of flat areas here. Which, like I said, I don't want. Let's do something else here. Let's see. Cliffside. Cliffs. Yeah, that's so. Let's have a look. How does this work? So. Okay, so we do have horizontal lines, but that's one issue, because if I'm just adding those lines, they're a bit too fine to. I need rougher shapes, simpler shapes. Not sure if I can change this here somehow. I can refine it so it's even finer lines, but I can't go in the other direction, basically. That's why I tried to do the crystal thing here, but didn't work. So I think this might be wrong here. Distance curve. Okay. Can we play with this a bit more? I mean, what I could do here is kind of blend something else in here, but I'm not quite sure. So basically use this as a mask. It also do this. Okay. The problem is, if I'm looking at this here, doesn't really translate nicely to here. That's kind of the issue I have with the whole thing. Export it out. I mean, the biggest issue is that it's the alignment kind of. Don't have it. I would love to have triplanar mapping, but I have no idea how to set this up for the terrain material. Because now I have strange rotations here and it doesn't really work. Hello. Yeah, here I do have the rotation completely wrong, so that doesn't look good. Yeah, nope. Nope, nope, nope. So basically, the rotation that I have in here, I can't rely on. Can't rely on this view for the terrain material. I can rely on it on normal materials for static meshes or stuff like that, but not for the terrain. And that's the biggest issue I have with this. I mean, it could be something in my setup here that I'm doing wrong. Maybe I shouldn't do the landscape coordinates here, but just texture coordinates. I have no idea. Let's have a look in here. Does it need to be preview? Okay. Let's see. Okay. I think that broke this even more. But I think now we need to change the scaling here to something way bigger. Yeah, I think this needs to be bigger. Or even smaller, I have no idea. Let's see. Push this up. Yeah. Don't see a difference at all. I think this is just broken. So I basically broke the rock layer. Yeah, I broke my function here. As for the text missing. Don't. Okay, so now it's here. No, traders. That's what I really don't like about working with terrain materials. It takes ages to change them. Maybe I should make a really small sample map and play around there. Not my big map here. Might be a better idea. So that I can see the changes a bit faster. It doesn't need to compile so many shaders. The problem is I can't set up the right height values because I need to have a specific height for the sand and for the snow and stuff like that. Sorry about that. I think something went wrong. Something on the material might not be working properly. Yeah, this is broken now because I broke this for some reason. So texture coordinates do not work. Not sure. I mean, we have something here, but doesn't really show up in here properly. Okay, so now it's showing up here. And now we have it in here. So let's see. Okay, this is still completely broken. So let's set that to 1. Okay, 1 doesn't do anything. This doesn't change anything. So the rock layer is completely broken at the moment. With those textures or with the texture coordinates here. And now it needs to rebuild everything. Hello, how are you? The moment I'm just working on terrain material and I wanted to change some textures. But it doesn't really work the way I wanted to. So I kind of broke everything here. Not quite sure what you mean by you have a pleasure, but yeah, we just need to wait for this to rebuild, and I'm not sure. Uh, Probably no. I don't really like to watch videos on stream. But you can post the link and then you can see what it is. Maybe someone has a comment. Oh, okay. I think I've seen that. The problem is with most of these speed level design videos is that you have a static scene. So in a static scene, you can do a lot of really awesome tricks to make it look awesome. If you have a dynamic scene, those tricks do not work anymore. So it's good to see what people can do with the engine in static scenes. But it might not translate nicely to games. That's kind of the thing I know of speed level design videos like that. I don't know this one particular, so I'm not 100% sure. I think I saw it at some point, but I didn't really watch through it because I know of the issue of speed level design videos. So, okay, that didn't work here, but I might need to change the parameters for this. Okay. I would say start small. Don't go too big with your ideas. If you want to do a small island, um, and a survival game, then yeah, do a small, really small island and get the basic mechanics in and see if that works. If that works, you can do the next step. Maybe add something to the island or add another mechanic or something like that. But don't go for really big projects. Because the thing is, you can work on them. It will take ages. And if you're motivated enough, then you might stay on them for ages. Um, but it's easier to make small projects that you can finish in about a month or two. Um, build prototypes, build really simple things, and don't go for high-end graphics. Go for functionality first. The thing is, yes, you have to use everything at some point, but I would say start small. Um, start at the base things. For a survival game, implement a health system, implement kind of a hunger system or an environment system like a heat system, cold system, or something like that. But do it in small steps, not think, okay, I want to do Rust or I want to do Ark or Conan or whatever. Do this in really, really small steps. And then for every step you take and every step you finish, you get more motivation to do more later. That's one of the things. The other thing is that you actually have something that you can finish. If you set a small scope, keep the idea contained, um, then you can actually finish it in a good time frame. Say if you want to get a full feature um, survival game with hunger mechanics, weather mechanics, and stuff like that, set 6 months. Doesn't need to look good. Don't care about that unless you're an artist. Then okay, but um, if you want to make a game, keep it simple, keep it looking ugly as long as you can stand it. Um, but the thing is, don't do too much with it. Yeah, that's the thing. In an RPG, you have so many components that could take ages. I mean, you can do something really simple, hack and slash, Diablo like. That would be slightly shorter, but it's still a lot to do because you need to do a lot of balancing with weapons and modifiers and stuff like that. I mean, the survival genre is part of the kind of comes from the RPG genre because you have similar things in it. You do have health, you do have kind of stamina in RPGs, and you have health in survival games. You have hunger, whatever in survival games, whatever you want to have in there. Um, you could have a survival game where you need to stay in the sun or need to stay in the shadow, and you have a meter for sunlight, something like that. Can create a vampire game with that if you wanted to. It's just managing different stats on your character, and in contrast to the world, and um, world influencing those stats. That's similar for RPGs and survival games. Um, for my game, I wanted to do more level design stuff, so I wanted to create a world, something like that. So I said I'm creating an adventure game where I don't have any stats. I don't have health. I don't have fighting in the game. I don't have anything like that. Um, so I can focus on other aspects. But in the end, most games nowadays have an inventory, have stats, health, stuff like that. And those are similar from survival game, RPG, space shooter, something like that. Yeah, go for it. If you can afford Maya, then definitely go for it. Problem for me with Maya is that I don't have a student version, and if you have a student version, be careful because you can't sell your game if you have a student version and created stuff with that. Um, if you don't have a student version and bought Maya, then good for you. That's the thing. If you already know the program and worked with it a while, then it's quite simple. Blender for me is not really simple because there are so many things in Blender that I still don't know anything about. Um, but same goes for Unreal Engine, but um, it depends on the on how big the program is and stuff like that. Okay, if you want to go for career in character modeling and animations, then I would go for Maya, definitely. If you want to go into the games industry, but you still can do that if you use Blender, because a lot of studios nowadays let the artist use the programs they want to use if the team can work together nicely with it. That's that's the thing. And another thing is that yes, there are a few things easier in combination with um, Unreal Engine and Maya because you can create rigs easier because you have that what was it called, art tool or something like that, that is a plugin for Maya, and that lets you export out the rig as the Unreal skeleton quite easily with a few clicks. So you have your characters rigged with a few clicks and they work in Unreal. It's not really the same with Blender. You need 2 or 3 more clicks, but it's still not that hard to do. If you want to learn Blender, then if you want to learn Maya, then go for Maya. I'm not saying don't do it. The only thing that I'm saying is that um, you don't need to learn Maya to get a job in the industry. You need to create working and good looking models to get a job in the industry. What program you use in the end doesn't really matter. And if you use Blender for your stuff and the studio you land in at some point is only using Maya, there's definitely someone in that studio that can tell you how to switch from Blender to Maya and still do all the things that you know. So I would say use the program that you're most comfortable with. Yeah, okay, Trello, if you want to go into creating games or something like that, Trello or any other um, progress tracking board really helps. I do have a Trello for this game. It's not up to date really because I'm slacking in that regard sometimes, but I do have few things here that are done. My condition system is done. All these things are done. And I have a few things here that I'm still working on that change over time sometimes. And I also have a kind of bug tracking in here as well for different versions. For Maya, you also have a lot of plugins that you can get in there. I have no idea how the scripting is done. I think it's Python or Lua in some cases, or they have different things, but I'm not quite 100% sure. But it's kind of second-hand knowledge what I have in that regard because I never really used Maya. Yeah, the thing is, like I said, the student version helps you learn how to use the program, but not use what you create with it. because you can't do commercial projects with stuff that you create in the student version of Maya. Not officially. Let's call it that way. Where is this damn thing here? It's not changing anything. I think I broke this again. Yeah, the thing is, if you focus on a specific task, then you can get that done quite quickly. If you want to create characters, do characters. If you want to create environment models, do environment models. If you jump around to a lot of different things in different aspects, it takes ages to get anywhere. I'm working on this project alone. It is way too big for me, and I have been working on it for 511 days at the moment, and that over a span of 3 years, and I haven't even scratched the surface. So focus your attention on small things and work from simple stuff to more advanced stuff later. I mean, a good thing that you can try out with Maya or Blender if you want to go for characters. Just create a stick figure and create a skeleton for it. Let it run around. Think of something like that. It's really simple. Just a few blocks and make it move. If you want to go on that route. If you want to create a game, like I said earlier, create simple mechanics and build upon them, combine different mechanics and slowly create your game. But don't say for yourself, I want to create the next big MMO, the WoW killer, the whatever. You will never get that done. I have a really simple scope for my game, and so far as I can see it, I can't get this done on my own in a reasonable time frame. I'm still working on it because it's a passion project. If it wasn't a passion project for me, I would have stopped a year ago or so, maybe. It's all about motivation in the end. And how you can kind of coordinate the time that you have for game dev stuff. Why is this happening here? And then sometimes you have moments like I have at the moment where I wanted to change a simple thing. Just want to change a few textures here, and I broke my terrain system, kind of. So that's not good. Oops, no. What's that? No. The thing is, a big project, yes, you will touch everything if you work alone on a big project. But you can also do that with a small project and pick out a few things that interest you the most and work them into that project. Then you have experience working with a few things, for instance, health mechanic, getting hit. So you need an NPC, you need the player, you need animations, you need particle effects, stuff like that. Make a simple arena game, have people hack onto each other. Then you have all those mechanics in there, and you have a project that you can finish in a reasonable time frame. And from that project on, you can go to something else, and you can make something bigger out of it. But you have something finished already, and you can upload that somewhere and people can play it and something like that. It's not just that you are working on a big project because you want to touch everything. You also need to show the world out there that you can do stuff. And if you can't do that, because you're still working on your big project 20 years later, no one is interested in that game. And it's probably also outdated a lot. And sometimes you have people in your chat that remind you that I'm breaking all those things that I'm saying most of the time. But I said once or twice already, if it's a passion project and you're crazy somewhat, then you break rules sometimes. And I also said that the project I'm working on is way too big for me. But I kind of want to get it finished. I kind of want to get it done so that I have something to show for it. If I'm dumping this project and do smaller projects, my motivation will be broken completely. So I'm kind of trying to stay on this project and get it done sometime in the near or far future. And I mean, I'm doing this on the side. It's a hobby thing. I'm not earning money with it. I'm not doing this to have an income. I'm doing this on the side. And that's also a big point. If you want to do game dev to earn money, then you need to make sure that you do small projects, throw them out there in a really rapid fashion so that people get new things from you and you get constant income. But if you have the time and money is no issue, or it's just a hobby thing, then yeah, go for it. All depends what you want to have, what your focus is. That's not what I said. I said make small projects and not throw out crap. Oh no, that was just I know that you didn't mean me. There are a lot of people that throw out crap because they want to get a quick buck, but in most cases, those games um, show up on platforms like Steam, but then are gone, and no one is seeing that anymore. If it's really crap, if it's a good game, then it's something different. But if it's just an asset flip or something like that, then um, it's not staying. Okay. Why is this thing broken? So this is completely black. Okay, what am I doing in here that could cause that? First, we can remove those two because we do not need them. So let's save that. No problem. Yeah, you have to struggle through it. And you have to keep your head. Keep a clear head. No problem. I mean, that's something that is important in the games industry because that's the language everyone's speaking. So it's didn't work. Still blank. A few tips on learning English is read books in English. Watch TV shows or movies in English. If you need to, put subtitles on. But not German subtitles. Try English subtitles so that you can read and hear the same thing. No, it's completely fine. No. No problem at all. I mean, one thing that I learn by doing this project is how not to do it in a lot of cases. And then on future projects, if they happen at some point, I know what to avoid and how to do it better. And people reminding me what I'm doing completely wrong is a good thing. So I might not change that for this project, but for future projects, definitely. I wouldn't call myself wise. What's the issue here? Why is that damn thing black? It's showing up here, even though it doesn't look good, but it's showing up. So is that not happening in here? Yep. Yeah, you can create puzzle games or puzzles with mini games like that a lot. But yeah, like I said, this project is where I'm doing everything wrong that it can do wrong basically, and still kind of have fun with it. Scope is way too big. The um what I want to have in there is way too much that I can create on my own. And all that stuff. So this, that, this. No, we don't need that. And this. So we basically only need the textures and the size. Yep. Here I do have mini games as suggestions. Go with it. Well, but it's just suggestions. It's nothing that I'm working on the moment. And some of these are a bit out of scope, even though dragons are not really out of scope anymore because I got a few free ones with animations, but it was out of scope at some point. Farming is definitely out of scope, an RPG is out of scope, fighting is out of scope. So there are a few things where draw lines in the sand and say everything beyond that I don't want to have in the game. Still completely broken. What's the issue? Oh, yeah, that's something that I also found out at some point. Um, get simple boxes or import the mannequin or whatever. Get size references or take real world measures and see if they work with your game. If you have a um, game where you want to have the camera fly around the character, third person game, top down game, whatever, make everything a bit bigger. If you have a first person game, you can use real world measurements. In most cases, make it a bigger as well. So it feels bigger and kind of more like a game. Because games, in most cases, use slightly larger scales. Yeah, wall usually is 3 meters high, kind of. So let's remove that function here. No. Can you type up or something? No. Okay, so let's get a preview of that. There we go. Okay. Thought I could create this so that I could change the distances and stuff like that. Have a different scaling for different distances the player's looking at, but if that doesn't work, then let's not do that. So let's apply that. I mean, another thing for the scale of things, if you work with other artists together, or with artists together, and you're creating the game, they also need a specified reference scale for everything so that they can create models for you in the right scale. So using that for yourself is a good practice. Simplest thing I did is create a cube, make it 2 meters high, 1 meters wide, and put that in your game, in Blender or whatever, and then check if the doors are high enough, if the ceilings are high enough, and something like that. Or if you don't want to do that and want to go for a specific other scale, then create your scale first and then create models. So do we have, okay, we do have this here now. Nice. It's still probably not in the right rotation and stuff like that. So yeah, no. Nope. That's the issue here. Let's see if we do. Texture coordinates. Let's see what's happening here. nice example for scale issues is this pack here for the keys. Because these keys are really high poly, first thing. Not a really bad thing. The other thing is that the dimensions are a bit too big, so I would need to scale these down by a factor of 10 maybe, so that they have the right size for the game, or even more in some cases. I mean, it doesn't really matter if you don't see the models lying around in the world, but if they are pickups and stuff like that, then it's an issue if they have different sizes. And if you just use them for an inventory system or something like that, like I'm doing in some cases, then it's fine. Okay, so now this is doing the same thing. Okay. Yeah. So everything that I create here with nice looking materials and Substance Designer doesn't really work in here unless I have triplanar mapping on my terrain material. And I think that's quite expensive. Yeah, this doesn't work. Okay. Damn it. So I definitely need to learn how to create a proper terrain material. I mean, the thing is, the functionality for the terrain material is there, but it's not doing the doesn't look good, that's the thing. So it's changing everything dynamically here. I want to change that, but it just doesn't look good. I need to figure that out somehow. Let's see, look at something. Yeah, but this has the same issue. Okay, I thought this material would have been different, but it has the same issue that I'm experiencing. So I need to ask some people that managed to get this look better. I mean, this also doesn't do the blending nicely. I mean, it's doing a bit of blending with noise here, but that doesn't really fit into my system. Need to figure out a good system. Let's see, maybe don't save. Let's see. Learn tab, or is it? Planes. This one. Let's create a project. No, not here. Let's go here. Projects. That. Hope this doesn't kill anything on the stream, but it shouldn't. And let's have a look what they are doing here. But I think if they are using World Machine, they probably have a splat map for each of the materials. So it might not be an auto material that looks good. Okay, so first thing that I see is the lines here are quite interesting, and then this rock texture here looks quite nice as well. Just distance blending. Let's see. Let's end the mid of this. Okay. So they have different things in here. Oh, okay. So our UVs, they have tiling, near and far tiling, so that's nice. Then we have different function here. Okay, so they take that and append it to itself. Okay, so they, okay, I see. We have this scalar here, and then they make it two-dimensional thing out of it, and then you take the landscape coordinates and divide that by that, and output that as our tiling here. Interesting. Right position, camera position. Yeah, okay, and here they do a bit of blending and stuff like that, but this here is interesting. So we take the that menu. Here we go. Take our tiling, multiply that by something here, then use it as texture size. Okay, so the normal is that is constant. No, the line normal, let's do that texture. Okay, so here they switch. We want to use world aligned or not. Okay, the rock is world aligned. So that. Okay, so they use back here, but that doesn't matter. That's something we can change later. Okay. Two-layer point cross. Okay. Interesting. So in here, basically, they have the world align, normal world align texture. No, they only have the, wait, it's the normal world align texture normal. What's that? Okay. Interesting. So okay, so they use this function to control the alignment here. Get an alpha and the texture output. And that's how they construct this texture here. And then it's the diffuse output. And normal output is well. Okay. Top button. Okay, so they do not create layers we can paint on properly in here, so let's see what's happening. We change this. Yeah, okay. It's not changing anything here. It's changing the way that so those lines are still there, but this is the grass material here. So it's using predefined splat maps to create everything. And only the lines are that's procedurally added. Yeah. Okay, so that explains a few things here. Let's see. I need to look into that a bit more. I mean, another thing would be to pay money. Escape. Then get something like this. But that's quite expensive. But I mean, it's nice because it's basically it's not just painting the materials, it's also setting stones and grass and all that stuff up. Sorry about that. And the other thing is I'm not 100% sure if I can kind of add my own materials to this. And it still looks good. That's another thing that maybe I need to figure out how to do the materials as well first. So need to figure out how they should tile, how big they should be, and all that stuff. Because this is horrible. It doesn't look good. I mean, this here is okay, but this is... I didn't create this, and this is just quite simple. And the other issue is that it's slightly... looks slightly too wet. Yeah, but I did follow the tutorial to create what I have here, but I need something more for it, and I'm not quite sure where to get that. But the problem is that I need to find the time to sit down and do tutorials, which I don't have. Because I'm spending a lot of time working on the project, and I don't want to go through a tutorial when I'm working on it. I mean, I know a few people that do that, but I don't really like that. If I'm working on the project, I should do something that's on the project and not following a tutorial, kind of. Yeah, the problem is I don't want to pay for World Machine so that I can use tiled terrains and stuff like that. And I also need to make sure that I can get the terrain that I have, the height map that I have in here, into it and make it look good. So I'm not 100% sure if World Machine is the solution for everything. I mean, you get nice results, and like I said earlier, you get so-called splash maps. So the blending between different layers, for instance, snow to rock and all this, is in that splash map. But if you want to change something on the terrain, because for instance, if I think, okay, the town looks okay, but oh, damn it, I need another house here somewhere. And then I want to change this part of the terrain, and if I just cut this down with a splat map, then it would look horrible. Because then I would to renew the splat map and all that stuff, and that's why I wanted to have this auto material so that I can still work on it and figure out where everything should be and stuff like that. Yeah, but now you have World Machine, you have Photoshop, and you have Unreal Engine. And I have Unreal Engine. And if I can do everything in Unreal Engine, why would I need World Machine or Photoshop? That's the thing. That's why I like the idea of this auto material thingy. So that I can change things in here, and I can even do I can even go further with this material. If it's not for this game, but for something else, I could change the height map dynamically in game, and it would look good in game as a result. So for instance, if I have a strategy game or something like that, and I want to flatten a specific area where a house should be, then I can just add that in here, and then we have that flattened area there. And then you can put the house there. And I can make that height map change in code somewhere. Or the yeah, height map. And for dynamic stuff like that, it's quite nice. I mean, for what I'm doing here, it's not really needed. If I want to have this look good, I could have done it differently, but I'm still changing things and playing around with the terrain. For instance, these terraces here, I added a few weeks ago, stuff like that. So it's a work in progress. And if I can do that on the fly in the editor, then that's awesome. Just need to figure out how to align my textures properly and how to do blending properly so that I don't have that cut line here, basically. And if I have proper alignment of textures, depending on the terrain, then I can add in nice textures as well. Nice materials like this. Or maybe something that looks even better than that at some point. But that's kind of the thing at the moment, that I'm finding a lot of things that I want to have better looking, but I haven't had the time to research and make them better looking, kind of. So that's the problem there. And the thing that I don't want to do tutorials on stream. Because I don't think that's what you should do. You shouldn't, in my opinion, it's only my opinion, you shouldn't broadcast other people's stuff on your stream. There are a few game devs that do that watch tutorials and work with it. There are different degrees of this. Some have the tutorial on screen, broadcasting is using the audio of it and stuff like that. Others have it on a second monitor, audio only for them, not for the stream, and then work with it. But in both cases, the chat interaction is not there. The stream is suffering from it, I would say. Hello, Mark. How are you? But like I said, I need to figure out how to do the alignment of textures properly on bulk material. Maybe, yeah, that could be true. That's true. But there are so many things that I could work on. I just did the terrain material today because I don't know why. I just felt like it. Mainly because Blender is broken or some drivers are broken and I haven't fixed them over the weekend. So I'm not doing 3D models. And I needed to do something in the editor and didn't want to write dialogues, which is the biggest thing that I need to do. And since I added the dialogue plugin, I can do that. Maybe I will just do that tomorrow. Just jump in and write more dialogue so that more of the characters that are running around here have something to say. Or I could also take a few days off, do proper research and jump back in, but I'm not sure what I want to do at the moment. So we will see. If I'm not streaming and doing research, or also if I'm streaming, I will tweet it out, and then you will see what I'm doing, basically. And if I'm not tweeting anything out and just start the stream, I will probably do dialogue writing tomorrow. Yeah, but for today, I will stop because it's late and I need to get to work tomorrow. So, see you then. Bye bye.